The it girl from Beijing's elite circle wanted to get her family off her back for pushing her to get married. She paid me 10 million yuan to pretend to be her boyfriend for a day. Just when I happily agreed, a red sports car slowly pulled up nearby. Ho Nianian recognized who the owner of the car was. You're lucky. The first person you meet is my second older sister. She's always super popular with guys. She probably won't give you a hard time. But these past 6 months, her mood has been really up and down. I heard some guy played with her feelings, and she ended up getting dumped. She's been looking for that guy all over the world ever since. I froze as I listened to all this. It felt weirdly familiar for no reason. No way, Sing City is so big. I can't be unlucky enough to walk right into the trap on my own, right? The window of the Bentley slowly rolled down. I didn't have time to think at that moment. I pulled Huo Nianian right in front of me as a shield. Li Chen! What the hell are you doing? Do you have a death wish? She couldn't do anything about me for the moment. According to the plan, she needed to pretend to play along with my act right now. She didn't even need to pretend at this moment. The window of the red sports car rolled down. It was none other than the Huo family's second daughter, Huo Xiaoxiao. Huo Xiaoxiao caught sight of the scene inside the car. She was a little surprised. This is my little sister's first time bringing a guy home, and they're chatting in the car right at the doorstep. This guy is way too casual. My little sister has never been in a relationship. She probably doesn't even realize she met a scumbag. Nianian has grown up. She even knows to get a boyfriend now. Remember to protect yourself. Don't just listen to whatever guys say when you're outside. And stay safe too. Don't bring him home. Second sister. Chen is not some random no-good guy. He is my future husband. I'm going to marry him. You want to marry him. Sometimes the more you forcefully stop something, the more it backfires. Once he gets bored of playing around, maybe they'll break up on their own. If they actually talk about marriage, the Wu family has plenty of tough people. I don't even need to step in to break them up. Fine, I'll pretend I didn't see anything. Take him to your place first. Don't bring him into the Huo family manor yet. Just as Huo Xiaoxiao was about to leave, I was just about to breathe a sigh of relief. Huo Nianian yelled in her direction, "Second sister, whether Chen is good enough or not. I know that clearly in my heart." What did you just call him? He doesn't even deserve that name. Huo Xiaoxiao's heart was pounding like crazy. Her voice was a little tight. Tell him to turn around so I can see him. I didn't get a good look at him earlier. Now I just noticed that his build looks exactly like my Chen's. This can't be Chen, but what if it is? I have to check to be sure. But Chen, this is my second older sister. Say hello. Hu Nianian found her sister's weird behavior odd, but she didn't take it to heart. She gestured for me to lift my head, but the next second, I tickled her right on her ticklish spot. She burst out laughing. Chen, stop messing around. We're in front of second sister. Hu Nianian realized she was being inappropriate. She pinched the man's waist hard. I flinched from the pain, but I still refused to lift my head. Second sister, Chen is a little shy. Why don't you head back first? I'll bring him to meet you formally tomorrow. Huo Xiaoxiao is an experienced person in relationships. She immediately misunderstood what was going on. She gripped the steering wheel tightly. She got out of the car directly. Ignoring her little sister's words, she opened the car door ready to forcefully check who he was. When I heard the sound of the car door opening, my whole body trembled. I panicked and stretched out my finger. I poked Huo Nianian hard. With Huo Xiaoxiao's temper, she probably won't give up that easily. I can only count on Huo Nianian to stop her now. Second sister, my boyfriend is quite shy. What are you doing? Huo Xiaoxiao froze right where she stood. This is my fault. I'm sorry. The next second, Huo Xiaoxiao closed the car door behind her. She gave up on the idea of verifying his identity. Since you're set on him, and you're already at the doorstep, it's also raining at night. You can let him stay for the night. Huo Nianian froze for a second. You know, even though the Huo family manor is not as big as the old compound, it's the place where the four sisters grew up together. People who can stay here overnight, no matter what kind of relationship they have, that counts as the first step of approval. Didn't second sister hate Li Chen a lot just now? Why did she suddenly approve of him? But my original plan was to let Li Chen stay overnight anyway. Since second sister isn't stopping this, I don't have to waste my breath arguing. Huo Xiaoxiao has already gotten in the car and is ready to leave. Second sister, aren't you going home? I just remembered I have some unfinished business. I won't be coming back tonight. Ho Nianian had a vague feeling something was off, but she couldn't put her finger on what it was. She was just about to look away, when her pupils constricted slightly. Second sister, you're reversing too far. Before she finished speaking, she watched helplessly as the sports car crashed into a street lamp. 1 second later, the sports car suddenly swerved in a sharp arc and vanished into the dark night. A crash this clumsy. Is that really my second sister? Hitting a street lamp while reversing. Such a stupid rookie mistake. How could second sister make a mistake like that? Second sister was super rebellious when she was young. She was always chasing thrills, and racing was one of her hobbies. All kinds of dangerous races, big and small. She's competed in countless of them. So her hitting a street lamp while reversing is basically impossible for her. As soon as Huo Xiaoxiao left, I finally stopped hiding and lifted my head. Your driving sucks. Everything about you sucks. What did you say? Before I could answer, he suddenly realized something. Let go of my hand right now. What's the matter, Missy? You're just gonna toss me aside now that you're done using me. Li Chen, have you no shame? How can you treat a girl like that? She fumbled to pull out a wet wipe and scrubbed her shoulder and the spot near her ear hard, and her neck where you touched her. She scrubbed so hard that the skin quickly turned bright red. Don't forget your little hands too, Missy. Huo Nianian froze mid-action and gave me a harsh glare. She actually grabbed a new clean tissue and started wiping her fingers. Li Chen, I swear I could strangle you right now. How dare you? My teasing expression froze slightly. Miss Nianian. What's your second sister's name? Why are you asking that? Ho Nianian got upset immediately. Li Chen, my second sister, is still hung up on her ex. It's no use hitting on her. I felt like the unluckiest person alive. Tonight, from the moment I met Huo Nianian to agreeing to pretend to be her boyfriend, all of it was a spur-of-the-moment decision. Who knew I'd almost walk straight into a trap? I could have ended up dead for real. Her name is Huo Xiaoxiao, right? I asked to make sure. Li Chen, don't forget who you are. Even if my second sister hadn't been dumped, that doesn't mean she'll date just anyone. She would never go for a guy of your status. After saying that, she added another warning. Besides, you're supposed to be my boyfriend right now. My second sister and I are super close. She'll definitely keep her distance from you. So stop getting any ideas. That bitch didn't deny it. My heart that had been in my throat finally sank completely. It's all my fault for breaking up with her too fast before. I didn't even bother to find out who she really was. I never would have guessed that Huo Xiaoxiao is the second young lady of the Huo clan and Huo Nianian's older sister. If I'd known this earlier, I never would have agreed to Huo Nianian's deal. I calmed myself down and said, "Fourth miss. I'm backing out of our deal." Huo Nianian was stunned for a second. What did you say? I cleared my throat lightly. I'll play the part tonight for free. Find someone else for later. Your second sister didn't get a good look at my face anyway. Money is nice and all, but freedom is way more important. Before Huo Xiaoxiao recognizes who I am, I just want to cut this off as cleanly as possible and avoid any unnecessary trouble down the line. No way, you have to stay tonight. Huo Nianian grabbed my arm and shook it. If you stay, I'll agree to anything you want, please. I rubbed my temples. Fourth miss! I don't think that's possible. She cut me off again. Li Chen, do you think you have a choice here? Huo Nianian put on that overbearing rich lady attitude. Let go of my arm. You think this is going well, so you're gonna raise your price, huh? Guys like you have no morals at all. All that talk about doing it for free. You obviously just want more. Spit it out. What do you want? I was completely drained. Just the thought of Huo Xiaoxiao gave me a huge headache. It's not about the money. Double the pay. I went quiet all at once. That's still not enough. Huo Xiaoxiao already left. She won't come back tonight. Only an idiot would turn down easy money right in front of him. I can just avoid Huo Xiaoxiao when we run into each other later. I'll just help Huo Ming win over his crush sooner, that's all. After I figured everything out, I asked with a flattering smile. Fourth miss, can I get paid daily? Li Chen, you're really way too greedy. Let me tell you something. You better not let anyone catch on to this, or I will definitely not let you off the hook. Of course, this small sum of money is nothing to me, but if word gets out that I spent this much just to hire a man to act as my boyfriend, people will definitely laugh at me for being a total sucker. Also, except for the necessary acting scenes, Keep your distance from me in private. If you dare take advantage of me without permission again, I will not let you get away with it easily. After hearing her words, I blurted out, Huonianian? You've never been in a relationship before, have you? Shut up. The girl got furious from embarrassment. She huffed angrily and tried to push me out of the car. Soon, servants holding umbrellas surrounded the car. When the girl saw people coming, she immediately changed her whole demeanor. She held my arm tightly and walked into the manor together with me. The red sports car that was supposed to have driven far away actually quietly turned back at this moment. After entering the door, Huonianian proudly stated her attitude. Li Chen is my boyfriend, since I brought him home. That means I have recognized his status. However you usually treat us, treat him the exact same way. After all, even I can't bear to let him get wronged. If anyone makes him unhappy, you will face the consequences yourself. For some reason, at that moment, besides feeling a little awkward, I somehow felt exactly like a strategist next to an ancient princess. It wasn't until I lay in the bathtub alone that I was finally able to relax. I slowly let out a sigh of relief. Click. I heard someone open the bathroom door. I didn't take it seriously. I just thought it was a servant bringing me clothes. Just leave the clothes there, you can go out now. No one responded after I said that. Only the crisp sound of high-heel footsteps, approaching the bathtub step by step. As if sensing danger, I suddenly shivered all over. I was just about to sit up when a soft, small woman's hand reached out in front of me. Honey. Long time no see, huh? It was Huo Xiaoxiao, as expected. Did she recognize me when we were in the car earlier? No wonder she warned at first. That Huonianian shouldn't let me stay at Huo Family Manor overnight, and suddenly changed her mind to allow me to stay later. She did all this just to corner me at her house. My ex-girlfriend is still as scheming as ever. Yeah, it's been a long time. But Huo Xiaoxiao, we broke up a long time ago. You should change how you address me. The word breakup seemed to remind Huo Xiaoxiao of something. Her voice turned ice cold. We broke up. When did that happen? I never agreed to that at all. I explained gently. Wang Shuji, breaking up only needs to be informed to the other person. It doesn't need the other person's consent. After hearing the man's words that drew a clear line between them, a hint of loss of control flashed in her eyes. Honey, how can you be so cruel? I'm really angry right now. Huo Xiaoxiao's emotions were hard to read. Chen, we've been separated for 193 days. Did you not miss me at all? I had just opened my mouth when she suddenly lowered her head and kissed me. But honey, I missed you so much. My heart aches from missing you, honey. I've been looking for you everywhere, facing Huo Xiaoxiao's sudden crazy outburst. I knew very clearly, if I don't stop her right now, things will get completely out of hand. When we were dating before, I never spoiled her, and I definitely won't now either. I directly bit her lip. Then I raised my hand and pushed her away. Huo Xiaoxiao touched her lip and looked at me with a wronged expression. Huo Xiaoxiao, have you had enough of this crazy act? Get this straight. I'm not just your ex-boyfriend. I'm also your younger sister's boyfriend. I might even have to call you second sister in the future. Sure enough, as soon as I played my trump card of Huonianian, Huo Xiaoxiao staggered violently all of a sudden. I grabbed the bath towel beside me and draped it over her head. By the time she lifted the towel off, I had already gotten up from the bathtub and put on my bathrobe. Huonianian asked persistently, Why Li Chen? I need an explanation. You owe me an explanation? Then you explain to me first. You used to work as a waitress. How did you become the second young lady of the Huo family? Huo Xiaoxiao froze for a second. You blocked me. Broke up with me and cut off contact unilaterally. Was it all because of my identity? Some inappropriate memories popped up in my head. When I first met Huo Xiaoxiao, she hid her identity as the Huo family's second young lady. She was just a young girl working to pay off debts. But her looks and figure were both top tier. Lots of rich guys tried to throw money at her, but she turned all of them down. So my first impression of Huo Xiaoxiao was that she had a decent amount of backbone. I happened to lose a game of truth or dare, and I needed to confess to someone, so I stopped Huo Xiaoxiao randomly. I thought she would turn me down, just like she rejected all the other guys. But the result shocked everyone. She said yes. So we started dating after that. I covered all the daily expenses, and she took care of me in return. But as we got along more deeply, I gradually realized my poor girlfriend was acting a little weird. For example, she was clearly in debt, but didn't rush to find a job. She just focused all her attention on me, and she sometimes had luxury items on her. Another example, when I asked her to order takeout, she had no idea how to do it at all. When she finally learned how later, she forgot to use coupons every single time. Does that even make sense? All these red flags made me put my guard up. Out of self-protection, I stopped putting more feelings into the relationship. I thought about whether to break up, but I dropped the idea in the end. I got used to having Huo Xiaoxiao by my side. A top-tier woman like Huo Xiaoxiao is super hard to meet again once you miss her, as long as she doesn't cross my bottom line. I don't want to dig into her secrets on purpose. Everyone living in this world has their own secrets, right? Until right before Huo Xiaoxiao's birthday. I was walking down the street by chance. I watched her from afar get out of a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. There was a row of luxury cars following right behind the Cullinan. A bunch of people got off those luxury cars. All these people centered around Huo Xiaoxiao. They walked into a high-end club, surrounding her like stars around the moon. To be honest, my first thought wasn't that Huo Xiaoxiao was a rich second generation. I wondered if she had gone down a bad path instead. When I found the private room Huo Xiaoxiao was in, the door happened to be left slightly ajar. Sister Xiao, are you way too invested in this act? No one pulls this off like you, Sister Xiao. Even when you pretend to be a poor girl, you can still make men crazy over you. They are even willing to pay to support you. That guy Li Chen isn't even rich at all, and he's still willing to support you all the time. He must be totally head over heels for you. The joke is he has no idea the little money he gives you. Can't even afford a single sip of your usual wine. You're so awesome, Sister Xiao. We thought a guy like Li Chen would have super high pride. But as soon as you made a move, he's devotedly living a hard life with you. We are totally convinced we lost the bet. Huo Xiaoxiao said calmly. It's too early to draw a conclusion now. He hasn't even said he wants to marry me yet. Wait, Sister Xiao, are you really going to propose to him on your birthday? It's just an act. I'm never actually going to marry him. Vain Phoenix men are always the best at pretending. With my current identity, if he's willing to give a huge amount of bride price to marry me, that means I won the bet. Huo Xiaoxiao lowered her eyes, looking even more casual and unconcerned. Seeing her acting like this, everyone looked at each other in confusion. They all thought of the same possibility. Sister Xiao, you didn't actually catch real feelings for Li Chen, did you? Standing just one door apart, I stared quietly at this girlfriend who pretended to be poor in front of me. I was also a little curious about her answer. The next second, Huo Xiaoxiao spoke without any hesitation. Haha, as if a guy like him is even worthy. A hint of annoyance showed on her usually soft face. I just haven't had enough fun yet. You guys have no idea at all. He acts like a polite gentleman on the surface, but he's actually a total ice block. He gives you the cold shoulder whenever he's unhappy, and I have to put in effort to cheer him up every time. You really think I'm a total simp for you? The worst part is, she's been so lukewarm to me this whole time. I've wasted so much time on her for nothing. There's no way I'm letting this go. No one dared to say a word. After 2 minutes of complete silence, someone finally broke the silence and started lashing out at me non-stop. The group of women watching coldly all had smug, entitled looks. I turned around and left right away. Turns out meeting Huo Xiaoxiao at the very beginning was all a carefully planned trap. She's a rich second gene, not the poor little girl I thought she was. I was just her stupid little toy all along, huh? To her, I'm nothing but a gold-digging social climber. She'd throw me away once she got bored of me. I thought I'd already seen all the worst parts of humanity. I never expected Huo Xiaoxiao to be this insane too. The only good thing is I'm not some kind of saint either. When my girlfriend betrayed me, I didn't end up completely heartbroken over it. The funniest part is, when she got home that night, she was all sweet and rubbed my ring finger gently, like she was measuring it for a ring. She really committed to the whole act, huh? This woman's acting skills are insane. Oh, you want to play act? Then I'll play right along with you till the end. The day before her birthday, I sweet-talked her and said I had a surprise for her. That night, I slipped her a full dose of sleeping pills and left her passed out on the side of the road. Huo Xiaoxiao, this should be your most unforgettable birthday gift ever, right? Then I left that heartbreaking city for good. and moved to Jing City where my childhood best friend lives to settle down. I know perfectly well that a no-morals rich second gen like Huo Xiao has to be cut off completely if you want to dump her. That's why I blocked her before I got on the plane, deleted all my social media accounts, and vanished from her life entirely. The only thing I didn't see coming was that Huo Xiao isn't just a regular rich second gen. She's the second young mistress of the Jinghuo family consortium. Now she showed up on my doorstep by total accident. This is so damn unlucky. Ah Chen, answer me. Noticing I was zoning out, Huo Xiao got a little annoyed and directly linked her arm through mine. I snapped back to my senses and stared straight into her eyes. She asked me confusedly, Ah Chen, I pretended to be poor, not rich. Aren't you supposed to be happy about that? Then she thought of something and asked again. Or did someone tell you something they shouldn't have? What are you talking about? I asked instead of answering her question. Huo Xiao's jaw tightened. I approached Ah Chen at first because of that bet. After Ah Chen disappeared, I interrogated everyone and made sure no idiot leaked the secret. That's why I never figured out why Ah Chen was so cruel to dump me. I could tell right away Huo Xiao still didn't know that I'd heard her conversation with those women, and I had no intention of calling her out on it. There's no point in rehashing the breakup with an ex anyway. Besides, Huo Xiao has been in a position of power for so long. If I expose her ugly side, what am I gonna get? An apology. She'll most likely just get mad and lash out. A relationship built on lies from the start is flawed right from the beginning. If we can't make it to the end, we should cut our losses early. I gave a casual, flat reply. To you, I'm just a flawed product, right? Huo Xiao stared at me intensely, her eyes already glistening with tears. I took a step forward and sat down on the edge of the bathtub. I wonder if second Miss Huo has ever heard this saying before. I looked at her with a smile on my face, but every word I said was colder and harsher than the last. A proper ex should act like they're dead. Thank you so much for deigning back then, second Miss Huo, lowering yourself to play a dating game with me. I had a lot of fun. And I hope you're not a sore loser, okay? The tears in Huo Xiao's eyes welled up. Fine, I'm a sore loser then, she mumbled softly, clearly starting to lose her composure. I didn't say anything else. The bathroom fell silent for a moment. Break up with my younger sister. That one line from Huo Xiao broke the silence. In just a few seconds, she pulled herself together and hid all her emotions, and went back to her usual arrogant, entitled self. Xiaoxi is still young. She's only interested in you on a whim. You two are not from the same world. You should cut your losses with her as soon as possible. As soon as she finished speaking, I looked up at her. There was a hint of stubbornness in Huo Xiao's cold eyes. Ah Chen, my little sister is not like me. You shouldn't have messed with her. The woman looked me up and down. Her words were both a reminder and a warning. The Huo family's gate. You can't get in through him. He can't protect you. Compare this to the old Huo Xiao who waited on me meekly. The calm and sensible second Miss Huo in front of me gives me a strong sense of disconnect. She really is a wealthy heiress. That fake poor girl persona she used to have is long gone. This tough attitude right now is the real her. Then when I can't keep this up anymore, I'll just break up with him. I tugged the corner of my mouth up, faking a soft, sweet expression. I believe no matter what happens, he will never hurt me. No need for you to worry about me, second Miss Huo. Huo Xiao squeezes her palm tight. The temper she just barely got under control snaps right back because of me. Why didn't you act like this when we were dating? She stops holding back entirely, sits down right next to me. Bo, what's so good about that silly little girl anyway? Does she know you as well as I do? I can't really figure out what she's up to. Wait, second Miss Huo, are you stealing your sister's boyfriend? I'm the one who got their partner stolen first. Huo Xiao pouts at me, looking all wronged. You were my boyfriend first, before you ever dated her. The second I hear that, I frown hard, and the next second, she rests her head right on my shoulder. I shove her head away immediately. Huo Xiao, have some decency. Babe, you left me asleep on the street back then. I don't have any dignity left at all. Huo Xiao's eyelashes flutter slightly. The grievance in her voice feels so tangible. It weighs heavy on my chest. A twinge of guilt crosses my mind. Is this woman gonna get back at me? I remember I left her that day, in the middle of the busiest downtown square. I can't imagine how many people stared at her that day. How did she even get out of that mess? Luckily, there's a knock on the door right then. Gunyanian's voice comes from outside. Akin, are you done showering? I can't wait to get out of this messy situation. But Huo Xiaoxiao grabs my wrist tight. Babe, if Xiaoxi walks in on us like this, do you think she'll break up with you? I look down and see thick mischief in her eyes. If I tell Xiaosi that you came on to me on purpose, do you think she'll believe me, her second elder sister? Or believe you? Huo Nianian waited a long time after showering, and I still hadn't come out. She opened her girlfriend's group chat in the meantime. Everyone was asking how her plan was going. Nianian, if you can't find a suitable guy, I can help you out. Sister Nianian, my cousin has been bugging me nonstop, saying he'll help for free. I already sent you his photo. Think about it. No offense. These are all such stupid ideas. Would that even work? Huo Nianian sent a reply. I picked a guy at Club Yese. Things are going well so far. My second elder sister already met him, and she clearly hates him a lot. Everyone in the group is a night owl. As soon as she sent the message, the group got super active right away. Second Miss Huo has seen all kinds of men. She can definitely tell at a glance. That guy isn't decent at all. Nianian, is that guy reliable? Be careful he doesn't set you up. You don't want a scandal out of this. No way, our Xiaoxi is single. No one else stands a chance. She only has eyes for the campus heartthrob. Speaking of the campus heartthrob, what's his problem anyway? Sister Nianian has confessed to him 99 times already. Why does he keep turning her down? If it were me, I would have given up ages ago. I'd never put as much effort into it as Nianian does, right? Even a stone would have warmed up by now. Don't you guys know? The poorer someone's background is, the stronger their pride is. The status gap between him and Xiaoxi is way too big. It makes sense he turned her down. Isn't that exactly what Xiaoxi likes about him? But we really should make sure. If the campus heartthrob actually likes Xiaoxi, Xiaoxi should bring that guy to school tomorrow to see how the campus heartthrob reacts. We don't want Nianian pining after someone who doesn't like her back and wasting all her effort for nothing. After reading that, Huo Nianian puts away her phone annoyedly. She sees I still haven't come out. So she loses her patience entirely. She finds a servant and asks, has Li Chen been in there this whole time? Yes, Mr. Li hasn't come out once. He's still in there. It's just, the servant doesn't dare look Huo Nianian in the eye, clearly holding back from saying something. Huo Nianian presses her lips together. I realized something was off. Well, how do I put this? I think I saw the second miss just now. She seemed to have gone into Mr. Li's room. Huo Nianian looked shocked in an instant. What did you say? My second sister is back. And she went into Li Chen's room. The maid nodded her head. Confused, Huo Nianian walked to my door. She'd only knocked a few times. When the door suddenly swung open from inside, then I walked out in a white bathrobe, with a dark, gloomy look on my face. I walked up to her and complained. Nianian, she burst in out of nowhere and peeked at me showering. Huo Nianian glanced at me in disbelief. Then she caught sight of her second sister walking out of the bathroom. Her usual cold face was flushed red. Second sis, didn't you leave because you had something to do?
Why did you come back all of a sudden?
And why did you break into Ah Chen's bathroom? Huo Nianian asked out loud. To avoid her noticing something was wrong? She hooked her arm through mine. If it were any other woman, seeing a strange woman come out of her boyfriend's room, she'd be seething with jealousy and throw a huge fit. But Huo Nianian thought differently. This must be an accident. After all, second sis has been a different person for the past half year. She hasn't been around any men at all. She only cares about the ex-boyfriend who dumped her. Besides, second sis doesn't know he's my hired boyfriend. Even if she's only thinking about my sake, she would know to keep things appropriate. Nothing sketchy would happen. I got a call halfway through my trip. I came back after I handled it. I drank a little bit of wine. My head was a little dizzy. I forgot you brought a boyfriend home. I walked into the wrong room by accident. Huo Nianian didn't suspect a thing. Instead, she acted like a total lovesick fool. See? I knew you didn't do it on purpose, second sis. Ah Chen, you heard that too, right? Second sis didn't mean it.
Can we forgive her this time?
I looked completely speechless. The fourth miss of the Huo family is such a little dummy. I nodded helplessly. Fine, but I need second Miss Huo to promise me. This can never happen again. Huo Nianian looked at Huo Xiaoxiao expectantly. You won't do it again, right, second sis? Huo Xiaoxiao's gaze fixed on me, who had my back to her. She didn't say a word. Second sis, We have to sell this act all the way, Huonyanian urged her softly. A faint look of plea was on her face. It won't happen again. As if, knowing her mischievous personality, I knew she wouldn't let me off that easily. Just as I was thinking, Huonyanian suddenly asked, "Second sis, is your lip bleeding?" My heart skipped a beat instantly. I remembered Huo Xiaoxiao Force kissing me in the bathroom just now. My fist suddenly clenched tight. My biggest trump card right now is the identity of being Huonyanian's boyfriend. So the thing I'm most worried about is Huo Xiaoxiao, not caring that much about her little sister Huonyanian, and just coming right out and saying that I'm the ex-boyfriend who dumped her. If that happens, Huonyanian will definitely confess too, and admit that I'm her hired boyfriend and give me back to Huo Xiaoxiao. That would leave me completely doomed. I reversed the car too fast earlier. I hit a street lamp. My tooth knocked against my lip. Luckily, between her ex and her little sister, Huo Xiaoxiao chose the latter. I quietly let out a sigh of relief. I really was overthinking it. For Huo Xiaoxiao, not being able to get over me, her ex, isn't because she has deep feelings for me. It's just her need for conquest acting up. As the prize for her bet, I disappeared right when she was about to win. How could she ever accept that? Of course, no matter how unwilling she is, I'm just a man. I can't compare to her little sister. In other words, as long as I'm Huonyanian's boyfriend for one day, I can stay safe for one day. Second sis, with your driving skills making such a silly mistake, I should really record this with my phone and send it to our sister's group chat, so big sis and third sis can see it too. Huonyanian teased with a mischievous grin. Huo Xiaoxiao glanced at me and didn't say a word. I touched my nose guiltily and said, "Nianian, I'm a little sleepy. Let's go to bed." Huonyanian blushed instantly. Holding back her embarrassment, Huonyanian sneaked a glance at her second sister. Second sis, we're gonna go rest first." The usually cold and distant second sis looked extremely gloomy right now. She could barely keep up her usual image. Huonyanian looked at Huo Xiaoxiao and thought to herself, this money was so well spent. I definitely picked the right person. At the rate things are going now, it won't be long. Second sister will be completely fed up with Li Chen. To the point that as long as it's not Li Chen, she'll take anyone. Huo Xiaoxiao felt a tight ache in her chest. Watched helplessly as Huonyanian clung to my arm to head back to the room. She hesitated for a second, and finally spoke up. Wait a second. Huonyanian was stressing over how to accommodate me once we got to the bedroom. What do I do? What do I do? There's only one bed in the master bedroom. He's just my fake boyfriend. There's no way I'm letting him sleep in the same bed as me. I already like someone else. Plus Li Chen's whole identity grosses me out. Right at that moment, Huo Xiaoxiao spoke. Fourth sister. Let him stay in the guest room tonight. Huonyanian turned around and heard those words immediately. Huo Xiaoxiao knew perfectly well this wasn't appropriate, but she had to grit her teeth and make an excuse. I just remembered. I have something to discuss with you. Gotta say, in a way, the two sisters accidentally came to an agreement and solved each of their own problems. Oh, fine then. Huonyanian looked reluctant on the surface, but she was over the moon inside. But I spoke up and refused right away. No way, I don't want that. You're my girlfriend. Why won't you sleep with me? Under Huo Xiaoxiao's cold stare, Huonyanian tried her best to act like a loving girlfriend. Second sister needs to talk to me about something. It's okay, you go sleep by yourself first, okay? She soothed me in a soft voice, while shaking my sleeve a little awkwardly. No, I don't want to sleep apart from you. Annoying, over-the-top acting is totally easy for me to pull off. Second sister, wait for me a minute. I'll come once I coax a Chen properly. Huonyanian called out to her second sister and pulled me over to a corner. There are security cameras in the house. We need to find a blind spot they can't catch. All right, that's enough. We're done for tonight, Huonyanian said in a quiet voice. You did a good job acting. My second sister definitely hates you now. She didn't even object to me staying the night with you. Faced with her praise, I was silent for a few seconds. Thanks for the compliment. You did pretty well too, Miss Fourth. Then I took out my phone and pulled up a QR code. Here, add me as a friend. It's easier to contact each other anytime. And send payments anytime. Huonyanian pouted. You really love money, huh? That's all you ever think about. But she added me as a friend right away anyway. Come on now. Who doesn't love money? I looked at her with a smile. You were born into a rich family, Miss Forth. You don't know how hard life is for ordinary people. Ho Nianian was convinced I was that kind of trashy guy, so she couldn't help scolding me. Even if you love money that much, you shouldn't sell your body and self-respect for it. I wanted to explain that she had me all wrong, but I stopped myself right when the words were about to come out, because I looked past Gu Nianian and saw Gu Xiaoxiao standing not far away. She was staring at me with a blank expression. The hallway light was pretty dim. She looked like a ghost hiding there waiting to kill me. At that moment, I clearly realized Gu Xiaoxiao would never let me off the hook. You're not some... I stopped halfway through my sentence, piquing Ho Nianian's curiosity. Nothing, you're right to criticize me. A loser like me who chooses to sink low is totally worthless. I switched my tone and agreed with what she said. Ho Nianian is nothing like Huo Xiaoxiao. She's kind and sweet. To get the man she likes accepted into the Huo family, she's handling her family first. When she finds out she misunderstood me later, she'll probably feel a little guilty, right? Maybe I can use that guilt later to give myself an escape route. Good that you know that once this deal is over, the pay should be enough for you to switch careers. Huo Nianian saw that I was taking her advice and felt a little relieved. Then she noticed my face looked off. What are you looking at? She was just about to turn around. When I stopped her, don't look back. Your second sister's right behind us. A playful glint flickered in her clear, bright eyes. Miss Fourth Huo, want to make your second sister hate me more? I grabbed her by the shoulders, pressed her against the wall. I leaned in slowly and said, Kiss me, Miss Fourth Huo. She struggled against my hold and said angrily, Li Chen, I warned you before. I'm a total neat freak. I sighed and spoke helplessly. It's just a fake angle kiss, dummy. You don't even know how to do that. We're supposed to be dating, remember? And you're totally crazy about me. Of course we have to kiss. Gu Nianian glared at me, flustered and annoyed. Who are you calling an idiot? She finally stood on her tiptoes, leaned closer to me. As the gap between us shrank, I could see her eyelashes trembling nonstop. She was obviously super nervous. You'll never get your dream guy if you're this shy, you know? I teased her. She got flustered and shut her eyes in annoyance. Shut up. Then froze completely still. Miss Sai, I think faking a kiss isn't enough. We better leave a real mark to sell it. What do you mean? Gu Nianian opened her eyes confusedly. I moved my hand slowly towards her fair neck. It'll be over quick. Please bear with it for your dream guy, Miss Forth. Ow, that hurts. I controlled my strength carefully, and on her neck, I left a bright red mark. She held herself back again and again, just barely managed to not push me away. All right, this mark will pass for a hickey. Your second sister won't suspect anything for now, I said as I looked ahead again. Huo Xiaoxiao was already gone. Huo Nianian touched her own neck. She looked like she had something to say, but held back. This only happens once. Never again. But in the end, she just snapped those words harshly and stormed back to her room without looking back. I leaned against the wall. Didn't rush to leave. In a way, Ho Nianian and I had the same goal. That was to make Huo Xiaoxiao hate me from the bottom of her heart. The more she hated me, the better. Mr. Li, would you like to rest now? We have plenty of guest rooms in the manor. You can pick whichever you like to stay in. Or if you have a preferred style, I can get someone to decorate a room for you. Earlier, when Huo Nianian and I were being affectionate, a few servants walked in on us by accident. They immediately lowered their heads and didn't dare disturb us. The 4 young ladies of the Huo family lost their parents when they were little. They only had each other growing up. They're extremely close. The Huo family manor is their shared home. Aside from the eldest Mrs. Fiancé, this is the first time anyone has brought a boyfriend home. Even though it's the youngest miss of the Huo family, the 4th miss who has the best temper, no one dared to look down on me all the same. I was a little surprised, but I figured it out quickly. No wonder it's a wealthy, powerful family. The rules are really strict here. So I replied to the servant, anything's fine, I'm not picky. Thanks for the trouble. Ho Nianian walked all the way back to her room. She shut the door, but didn't turn on the light right away. Instead, she leaned her back against the door and let out a long sigh of relief. No wonder he's such a notorious playboy. Did you two sleep together last night? A female voice suddenly spoke out of nowhere. Gu Nianian jumped in fright and turned on the light. She saw Huo Xiaoxiao standing by the window. Moonlight fell on her face. making her look really preoccupied. Second sister, you scared me half to death. Why didn't you turn on the light? Gunianian took a few steps forward. She only remembered the question just now after a delay. Gunianian coughed lightly. Second sister, aren't you overstepping a little? Huo Xiaoxiao huffed softly. You two were almost kissing right in front of me earlier. Can't I even ask about that? Hearing that, Huo Nianian was a little confused. Was that just my imagination? Why did second sister sound like she was grinding her teeth when she said that? Chen, she stammered out awkwardly, only to get scolded by Huo Xiaoxiao immediately. Don't you dare say his name. Huo Nianian froze in shock. She held back her joy and spoke. Second sister, do you hate my boyfriend that much? Both boyfriend and Chen sounded equally harsh to her. Huo Xiaoxiao turned to look at her younger sister. The next second, her pupils shrank suddenly. She stared hard at the red mark on her sister's neck. Bright and eye-catching, like it was there to remind both her and her sister what her boyfriend has done. Second sis, are you okay? Noticing second sis staring at her neck the whole time, Huo Nianian awkwardly pulled her clothes tighter. After a long while, Huo Xiaoxiao responded with a cold, fake smile. I'm fine, totally okay. Huo Nianian thought her second sister was in a terrible mood. She's probably still thinking about her ex-boyfriend. Ever since second sis came back to Jing City half a year ago, as soon as she hears any news about her ex, she'll drop whatever work she's doing no matter how busy she is, and fly over personally to check on him. I even secretly asked third sis about it before. What did third sis say again back then? Your second sister is just being a lovesick fool. I think second sis definitely met her Mr. Right. You're still young. You need to watch your reputation. Huo Xiaoxiao blurted this out of nowhere. She continued speaking as if she was looking out for her sister. While you're still young, you better learn to control yourself. You need to keep your distance from him, okay? Honianian was totally confused. She said, slightly annoyed. Second sis, why are you being such an old nag now? You're the old nag. Huo Xiaoxiao got a little angry. What I mean is, this is your first relationship. You need to see the guy for who he really is. If you two don't work out, it'll mess up your next relationship? This logic made absolutely no sense. Even Huo Xiaoxiao herself couldn't stand hearing it. But Huo Nianian trusted her sister. She walked over with a smile, wrapped her arm around her sister's, and cooed. Don't worry, second sis. I'm not the kind of person who can't tell good from bad. I'm super capable, okay? Huo Xiaoxiao was silent for a moment. Then she asked the question that had been weighing on her heart. How did you two get together? Huo Nianian couldn't answer that question, so she just changed the subject. Second sis, don't be biased against him. He's really special. I love him so much, just like how you love your ex-boyfriend. Huo Jiaojiao didn't say a word. Huo Nianian could clearly tell that her second sister was in a bad mood tonight. If she thought about it carefully, it seemed to start when she caught me with Li Chen. Even though I want second sis to hate Li Chen as much as possible, but I also don't want her to worry so much. Over my personal matters. While she was thinking, Huo Xiaoxiao suddenly stared right at her. She refuted Huo Nianian over and over. He's not my ex-boyfriend. We never broke up. He's still my boyfriend. Huo Nianian couldn't help but wonder, did bringing my boyfriend home suddenly upset second sis? Why is she deluding herself like this? Breaking up isn't the same as getting divorced. Her disagreeing unilaterally won't change anything. She thought that, but just went along with it out loud. Okay, he's still your boyfriend. When we find him later, I have to see who on earth this guy is. To make my sister this lovesick. Huo Xiaoxiao opened her mouth. Should I tell my sister that her boyfriend and my boyfriend are the same person? She denied it coldly. Who's lovesick over him? For a heartless bastard like him? He doesn't deserve it, Huo Nianian thought to herself. Second sis's mouth is the toughest part of her whole body. No wonder her boyfriend ran off. I need to learn from her mistake. Oh, right, second sis. What did you want to talk to me about? Huo Xiaoxiao blanked for a second. After thinking it over, the topic circled back to me again. Xiaoxi, this is your first relationship. I didn't want to upset you at first. Your boyfriend might not be as good as you think he is. Beijing only took half a year to get a new girlfriend, and he even came to meet the parents with his girlfriend. He could ruthlessly dump me back then. Who's to say he won't ruthlessly dump my little sister later? Huo Nianian was pretty surprised. Did second sis develop such a deep bias against Li Chen in such a short time? Second sis, a Chen isn't perfect. But what about us? Are we perfect then? I know exactly what kind of person HN is. I have it all figured out. Even if you don't like him, second sis, please do it for my sake. And put up with him for a while. She looked completely serious, while silently complaining in her head, when you guys can't stand it anymore, my goal will be achieved. Then I can finally get together with my dream guy. The next morning, I was getting ready to go downstairs for breakfast. I saw Huo Xiaoxiao wearing loungewear, holding a cup of coffee, leaning against the end of the hallway, like she was waiting for me on purpose. Huo Xiaoxiao curled her lips into a meaningful smile. Morning, Chen. Did you sleep well last night? I had someone specially change it for you. The lavender pillow I like. Are you getting used to it? I paused mid-step. My tone was unemotional. That's very thoughtful of you, second miss. But I'm used to sleeping anywhere. No need to worry about me. She's trying to play the nice card too bad. I don't buy that. Huo Xiaoxiao's eyes dimmed for a second, but she quickly put her smile back on. She took 2 steps forward and blocked my way. Worry? Why would I worry? You're my little sister's boyfriend, so you're a distinguished guest of the Huo family. As her older sister, of course I have to treat you well. I turned sideways to avoid her. My tone was distant. I appreciate your kindness, second miss, but I made plans with Nianian to go to campus today. I don't have time to stay and chat over tea with you. Huo Xiaoxiao's smile froze, and her voice got a little colder. Going to campus to find that campus heartthrob. I stopped walking and glanced back at her. You're really well informed, second miss. Nianian wants to see the guy she likes. As her boyfriend, of course I have to help her out. Huo Xiaoxiao gripped her coffee cup tightly, but her voice still stayed calm. How responsible of you. The more she acts like this, the more I need to let her know. I'm with Huo Nianian now, and she can't mess with me however she wants. My tone was polite but distant. It's my job. Excuse me, second miss, I have to go now. I turned around and left. I heard Huo Xiaoxiao murmur behind me. Li Chen! Do you really have to treat me like this? I went to Huo Nianian's bedroom. I saw her wearing a dress that looks very student-y, standing in front of the mirror. Huo Nianian looked at me nervously. Li Chen, do you think if I wear this to see Lu Jingfei, it'll look too childish? I leaned against the door frame and looked her over. No, it looks great. Pure and cute. It fits your identity as a college student. But if you want to leave a good impression on him, I suggest you change your hairstyle. Huo Nianian looked at me confused. What kind of hairstyle? I stepped forward and casually tucked the hair on one side behind her ear. This looks more feminine, plus, if you wear a pair of earrings, you'll look more delicate. Huo Nianian froze immediately. Why did you suddenly get so close? I said with a smile. I'm fixing your look, duh. It's a boyfriend's job, are you blushing? I am not blushing. Huo Nianian huffed softly. Keep talking. What else do I need to pay attention to? I pulled a note out of my pocket and handed it to her. These are the confession lines I wrote for you. Memorize them well. Don't confess to him right away when you see him. Talk about common topics first, like the competition he joined recently, then casually compliment him on how good he is. Finally, pretend to casually ask him, are you free to get dinner on the weekend? I want to ask you a few questions. Huo Nianian looked at me with shining eyes. You're so professional at this. Did you use this trick to chase girls a lot before? I glanced at her. Cut the crap. Go memorize your lines. I'm the one you paid to hire. My only job is to help you get your dream guy. Don't ask questions you shouldn't ask. Huo Nianian looked down at the note and mumbled under her breath. No need to be so mean, but this does seem pretty reliable. That afternoon, Nianian and I walked side by side on campus. Huo Nianian stood nervously off to the side. Look over there. The guy next to the basketball court. Is that Lu Jingfei? I looked in the direction she was pointing.
Yeah, that's him. He looks pretty cold and distant.
Huo Nianian clenched her fists.
Okay, hello everyone.
I'm Huo Nianian. All right, I'm going over now. I cheered her on. Go for it. Remember the lines I taught you. Act natural. Don't be nervous. Huo Nianian walked towards Lu Jingfei. I leaned against the tree behind me, ready to watch her performance. Right at that moment, I felt a burning gaze on me. I turned around instinctively. Huo Xiaoxiao was staring daggers at me not far away. Of course she followed us here. Huo Xiaoxiao, you really haven't changed at all. I pretended I didn't see her, and kept looking in Nianian's direction. The two of them talked for a bit. Then Lu Jingfei stood up and left without looking back. I was just about to go up and comfort her when Huo Xiaoxiao suddenly grabbed my wrist from behind. Li Chen, do you care this much about the fourth miss? I spoke in a flat tone. Second miss, were you following me? Huo Xiaoxiao didn't answer and asked a question instead. Let me ask you, have you actually fallen for her for real? Do you really want to be her boyfriend? I shook off her hand roughly, my voice carrying a hint of impatience. Second miss, get this straight. I'm Nianian's boyfriend right now. I care about her. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? That's none of your business. Huo Xiaoxiao was completely enraged by my words. Her eyes turned red. None of my business. Li Chen, doesn't your conscience hurt when you say that? I felt a sharp, stinging pain in my heart, but I still kept a cold, hard expression on my face. Is there any point in talking about this now? Huo Xiaoxiao, we ended things a long time ago. Tears finally fell from Huo Xiaoxiao's eyes. Ended? I never agreed to that. Li Chen, I admit I only approached you at first, because of that stupid bet, but later on I forgot all about the bet. I really fell in love with you. Do you know that for 193 days I wondered where you were every day and night? If you were eating properly, if you were thinking about me too. I looked at her tear-streaked face. My resolve started to crumble against my will. I knew what she said was true. The pain in her eyes was real too. But when I thought of the words I heard in that private room back then, my heart turned hard again. Miss Huo, the person you fell in love with was the old me, who thought you were a poor girl from a regular family. Are you sure you love the real me, or the version you made up in your head? That self-made poor guy who doesn't care about your money. Huo Xiaoxiao froze on the spot. She opened her mouth, but couldn't say a single word. I turned my head away and stopped looking at her. Let's stop here, Huo Xiaoxiao. We ended things a long time ago. I turned around and walked toward Huo Nianian. Huo Xiaoxiao stood there staring at my back, as tears silently rolled down her face. You asshole! Who gave you the right to decide for me? Late that night, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. All I could think about was the scene of Huo Xiaoxiao crying and saying, I really fell in love with you. Earlier that day when my phone buzzed once, it was a message from Huo Nianian. I found out Lu Jingfei will participate in a national academic competition next week. It's held at the convention center downtown. I want to go to the venue to cheer for him, but I don't know how to get close to him. Do you still have any ideas? I typed a reply, Yes, I'll go with you. I'll help you create an opportunity when we get there. Really? You're so reliable? I want to make some cheering banners to bring to the venue. Can you help me? I replied with a good night sticker, and sat down at the desk resignedly. I'm just a guy hired to act as her boyfriend. Yet I care more than a real boyfriend would. That Honianian is something else too. She hasn't even won over the campus hunk yet, and already has this fake boyfriend wrapped around her finger. But she's paying me real money. And I'm selling my time and energy. Fair deal. After I finished making the banners, I stretched my arms and caught a slim shadow by the door out of the corner of my eye. What's Huo Xiaoxiao doing up in the middle of the night? Sneaking to watch me make stuff for another woman. The next afternoon in the manor's living room, Huo Nianian held the banners I made and bounced around excitedly. Huo Xiaoxiao walked down the stairs. Second sister, look at what Chen made. It looks even better than custom-made ones. Huo Xiaoxiao's gaze swept over me. He stayed up all night just to make these. When he celebrated my birthday, he only wrote me a note. Now he's this thoughtful with Nianian. He really has fallen for her. Mr. Li, you're really quite devoted, aren't you? You flatter me, second miss. I smiled a little. Nianian is my girlfriend. Of course I care about her. Huo Xiaoxiao stepped 2 steps closer. You sure call her affectionately, don't you? Second sister, why are you picking on a Chen? He didn't do anything to upset you. Huo Xiaoxiao sneered. Me picking on him. I'm worried you're going to get scammed. Some people specifically target rich daughters from wealthy families. Dump the older sister first, then sweet-talked the younger sister, running 2 different scams with the same script. My eyebrows twitched slightly. He's just jealous. Hunianian raises her voice. Second sister, I'll get mad if you keep saying that. I know exactly what kind of person he is. Huo Jiaojiao stares at her. Fine, you know best. Just don't come crying to me later. Dinner time. Huo Xiaoxiao opens a bottle of red wine, drinking one glass after another. She looks at me without hiding it at all. Ho Nianian raises an eyebrow. Second sister, you've had too much to drink. Why do you keep staring at a Chen? Huo Shaoxiao swirls the wine glass in her hand. Li Chen, the phrase social climber, was invented just for you, right? Ho Nianian slams her chopsticks down. Second sister, do you really have to do this? What did Chen ever do to you? Huo Shaoxiao stands up.
Swaying slightly unsteadily.
Because he doesn't deserve you, that's why. Because he's the guy I loved for half a year and searched for 193 days for. Huo Shaoxiao turns around and leaves. The click of her high heels feels like it's pounding on my heart. I watch her back as she walks away. Is she actually mad at me? Or mad that she's resigned to her fate? After dinner, I take a walk in the back garden. Stifled sobs come from near the swing set. Huo Shaoxiao is holding half a bottle of red wine. Who's there? Li Chen? Did you come to laugh at me? I walk over and sit on the stone bench. You've had way too much to drink. She tilts her head back and takes a big gulp. She chokes and coughs violently. Am I ridiculous? All high and mighty during the day, hiding here crying at night. Happy now, Chen? The 6 months I dated you were the happiest time of my life. And you dumped me. My Adam's apple bobbed slightly. But that line you said outside the private booth, does he even deserve you? You meant that, right? The thorn is still there. I speak coldly. I heard every word you said back then. In that private booth, you said I didn't deserve you. That you were tired of me and would give me away. No, that was them egging me on. But you didn't deny it either, did you? I cut her off. She doesn't say anything else. I take off my jacket and drape it over her shoulders. I just sit there quietly with her. She cries until she's tired. She hands my jacket back to me. Thanks, you should head back now. Don't let Nianian see us. The day of the competition, the exhibition center is packed with people. I'm holding Huo Nianian's bag of cheering props for her, along with the thermos she prepared specially. Nianian, what did you put in this soup? Wolfberries, red dates, and white fungus. I spent 3 days studying recipes for this. It's specifically for throat care. 3 days. I raise an eyebrow. You can't even order takeout on your own normally, can you? Huo Nianian glares at me. Okay, so I can't. But I can learn. For him, I'd learn to do anything. I sigh quietly. Fine. When we get inside, you hand it to him yourself. I'll cover for you nearby. Remember, don't be nervous. Don't lunge at him the second you see him. Just hand him the thermos normally, and say you did a good job, that's it. Huo Nianian takes a deep breath. I know. You already taught me this. I hum in response. Go on. Don't let those 3 days of research go to waste. Huo Nianian grips the thermos tightly and walks toward the contestant's entrance. I watch her back from a distance. Is Huo Nianian really brave or just really stupid? Wait, I'm probably the stupider one. I dumped Huo Shaoxiao, yet I still willingly stick around. When Huo Nianian walks up to Lu Jingfei, she hands him the thermos. This is a nourishing soup I made for you. Thanks for working so hard for the competition. Your throat has been bothering you a lot lately, right? This is really good for your throat. For the first time, Lu Jingfei doesn't turn her down immediately. He takes the thermos, twists off the cap, and takes a sip. You made this just for me. Huo Nianian nods. Her eyes are shining bright like stars. I spent 3 days figuring out the recipe. Does it taste okay to you? The corner of Lu Jingfei's mouth twitches slightly. It's okay, a little sweet. Haha, I'll put less rock sugar next time. Huo Nianian is so happy she's almost bouncing. I can't help but smile a little myself. Looks like this girl's actually making progress. 99 rejections. Maybe the 100th time will be the turning point. But before I could feel happy for Huo Nianian, Huo Shaoxiao walked over from not far away. Xiaoxi, what are you doing here? Huo Nianian was still immersed in the joy of Lu Jingfei being willing to talk to her. The smile on her face froze instantly. Second sister, why are you here? I came to pick you up and take you home. Let's go.
Xiaosi.
How could you leave your boyfriend there alone? Lu Jingfei looked at me, following Huo Shaoxiao's gaze. Turns out she already has a boyfriend. Lu Jingfei looked away. The competition is about to start. I'll head out first. Huo Nianian was eager to catch up with him. Second sister, I haven't finished talking to brother Jingfei yet. You are done talking. He's going to the competition. It's time for you to go back. Just like that, Huo Xiaoxiao casually cut off. The conversation Huo Nianian worked so hard to get. Watching all this from a distance, I sighed in my heart. Huo Xiaoxiao, Huo Xiaoxiao. Your troublemaking skills haven't changed at all.
I found.
Huo Nianian sitting on the steps. She was holding a thermos cup with a wronged look on her face. Li Chen! Second sister is going too far. I finally got to talk to Lu Jingfei. She just came over and took me away, and even told him I have a boyfriend. But you're just someone I hired to act. Huo Nianian's eyes were a little red. I sat down next to her. Huo Nianian, don't mind your second sister. Lu Jingfei's attitude towards you has changed. That's a good thing. Next time I'll help you create an opportunity. You can just explain it clearly to Lu Jingfei face to face. Huo Nianian nodded. Okay. After sending Huo Nianian back to the manor, I went to Huo Xiaoxiao's private apartment. Huo Xiaoxiao was obviously stunned when she saw me. Why are you here? I walked inside and sat directly on the sofa. Huo Xiaoxiao, how did you end up like this? I just don't want to see you being nice to her. Li Chen, can you stop being so cruel? I admit I'm jealous, but I just can't stand you being gentle to someone else. That kind of gentleness. You never gave it to me. I stretched out my hand subconsciously and wiped the teardrop that was about to fall from the corner of her eye. Huo Xiaoxiao slowly moved closer. Ah Chen. I closed my eyes for a moment and forced myself to step back. A Chen still cares about me. I stood up and walked to the door. Huo Xiaoxiao? If you really can't let go of me, then don't take it out on Nianian. She didn't do anything wrong. She just likes someone, that's all. On the way driving back to the manor, the temperature of her cheek was still on my hand. Li Chen, you shouldn't be soft-hearted. She lied to you. You're just a bet to her. But when I saw her tears, my heart ached so much. The next day, I went downstairs to have breakfast. There was an extra thermos on the dining table with a sticky note stuck next to it. You have a weak stomach. Drink less coffee. I opened the thermos. It was millet porridge inside. A name popped up in my mind. Huo Xiaoxiao, she knows I have a weak stomach. During the half year we were together, every time I worked overtime and forgot to eat, she would bring me a bowl of porridge. The temperature was just right. Back then I thought she was a thoughtful poor girl. The taste of this porridge hasn't changed now. Huo Xiaoxiao, what am I supposed to do with you? I passed Huo Nianian's room when I went upstairs. Miss Huo, I'll find out the time of the next competition for you in advance. You can explain to Lu Jingfei face to face that you're single. Once the misunderstanding is cleared up, his attitude will only get better. Really? Huo Nianian's eyes lit up. She suddenly leaned over and lowered her voice. By the way, second sister is so weird today. She was busy in the kitchen early in the morning, and even locked the door so the servants couldn't go in. I touched the sticky note in my pocket. This bowl of porridge, this sticky note. This woman who doesn't want to be found out. How can I let go? Huo Xiaoxiao found me in the back garden in the evening, carrying a paper bag in her hand. There's something I want to tell you face to face. Then you can decide whether to keep hating me or not. I nodded. Okay. I went to her private apartment with her. She put the paper bag on the coffee table and looked at me without blinking. Li Chen, no matter what you think after hearing this, I'll take whatever you decide. Go ahead, say it. She opened the paper bag. The first thing inside was a men's ring. I bought this the day before my birthday. My original plan was to tell you who I really am, and then propose to you. Propose? My mind went completely blank for a second. She looked at the ring and nodded. I measured your finger to get it custom made. The staff said it would be ready in 3 days. I thought I could tell you everything after 3 days, and put it on you myself, and officially be with you. But before I could even say anything, you disappeared. The second item was a stack of chat screenshots. I blocked all of them and never contacted them again. The timestamp was clearly right after I left that night. I looked at Huo Xiaoxiao's face. A certain iceberg in my heart started to melt. She went on. You just believed it like that night. You didn't come to question me. You just sentenced me to death right away. And disappeared. I put down the screenshots. I was silent for a long time before I spoke. Huo Xiaoxiao, I believe everything you said. When I left back then, it wasn't just because you lied to me. It was because my pride couldn't take it. Being treated as a bet. Being watched and judged by a bunch of people saying, I don't deserve you. Whether I was trying to act tough or not, what I heard was the truth to me. I really don't deserve you. Your friends were right. I'm just an ordinary guy. You're the second miss of the Huo family. That's the real reason I left. So you dumped me. Not just because I lied to you. It's because you thought you didn't deserve me. Pfft, both. You lying was the surface reason. Not deserving you was the deep reason. I was too young back then. I blew up as soon as I heard those words. I didn't stop to think calmly. Why would you date someone who doesn't even deserve you, and even offend all your friends for him? I only thought of the worst possible scenario, and chose the cruelest way to leave. It was my impulse. I shouldn't have left you alone on the street. Huo Xiaoxiao looked at me with tears in her eyes, and took out the last item. A handwritten letter. Li Chen, if you're reading this letter, that means I finally found you. The initial joke is no longer a joke. I love you. From the first day you cooked for me seriously, from when you found out I don't know how to order takeout, and still taught me patiently, from when you ran 3 blocks in the rain to buy me medicine. The bet ended long ago, but my feelings for you didn't. I was going to tell you everything on your birthday, propose to you, and start over with you. But you didn't give me that chance. I blocked the way myself. You were never a bet in my heart. You're the person I want to marry. The date at the end was 3 days after I disappeared. After I finished reading, most of my resentment faded away. Huo Xiaoxiao, I'm sorry. Let's get along normally from now on. Back at the manor, Ho Nianian was giggling at her phone. I sat next to her and asked, "What's making you so happy?" She waved her phone at me. Lu Jingfei added me as a friend. He went to the library to look up materials today. I just happened to be there too. I told him I'm single, and asked if he could teach me the algorithm from the last competition. He said yes, and then he added me on his own initiative. I laughed. Keep it up. Don't rush to confess. Chat normally. Let the feelings grow slowly. When Yin Yan nodded. Oh right, second sister had someone save kanji for you. Didn't she hate you? Why did she suddenly send you kanji? I coughed. She probably knows I have a bad stomach. Ho Nianyan looked at me suspiciously. Chen, what exactly is your relationship with my second sister? I froze for a second. What relationship could I possibly have with her? That's so weird. Second sister would have someone save kanji for you. She seemed to hate you extra much. I even saw second sister smile at you. My second sister never smiles at men. My brain was racing fast, Nianyan. Your second sister hated me before. Now she's not targeting me anymore. So you think she changed? Don't overthink it. But second sister used to be cold to everyone. She's only different towards you. Well, if you ask me, your second sister is probably nice to me out of the love me, love my dog logic. 'Cause you're her little sister. And I'm your boyfriend. Ho Nianian didn't look totally convinced. Fine then. I smiled and said relax. I'm super professional, okay? No way. I have to speed up her progress with Lu Jingfei, so all her attention is focused on pursuing him. She won't have time to overthink me and her second sister. Next, I sorted out Lu Jingfei's class schedule, his club activities, and the places he usually visits. I texted Huo Nianian. Nian. Lu Jingfei will study on the 3rd floor of the library on Wednesday afternoon. Bring 2 cups of coffee when you go. Keep one for yourself. Hand the other one to him casually. Just say thanks for teaching me the algorithm last time. I bought it on the way. Leave right after you hand it to him. Let him initiate the chat with you. Don't talk too much. Hu Nianian replied instantly. Got it. What should I wear? Just wear your everyday clothes. Don't dress up on purpose. Wednesday afternoon. Hu Nianian texted me. He chatted with me for 20 minutes. He initiated it. He asked me what direction to pick for my thesis topic. He even recommended 2 books to me. Great, keep up the pace. Don't get too excited just yet. There's an academic forum on Saturday. Lu Jingfei will attend it. You should sign up too. It's a formal occasion. You can talk about academic stuff with him. It's more meaningful than a random encounter at the library. Prepare a few questions about his research direction. They don't need to be too deep. Just make sure he can answer them easily. The key is to make him think you're serious and have your own thoughts. Friday night. Ho Nianian came to see me out of the blue. I always feel second sister is acting weird lately. The way she looks at me is soft and full of guilt lately. It's not like her at all. I knew exactly what was going on. She's probably reflecting on messing things up before. It's normal she feels she was too hard on you. Don't overthink it. Focus on the Saturday forum. Don't let Huo Xiaoxiao's stuff distract you. She nodded. All right, I'll go work on the forum stuff first. During the break of the Saturday academic forum, Huo Nianian stood next to Lu Jingfei. That model you mentioned just now, I looked up relevant papers. There are a few directions we can expand on. Lu Jingfei looked at her with a hint of surprise. You looked them up? I read the 2 books you recommended. The algorithm framework in them can be combined with the model you talked about. The corner of Lu Jingfei's mouth curled up. You read really fast. Interest is the best motivator. Oh, right. Have you decided on your thesis topic? Huo Nianian shook her head. Nope. Still figuring it out. Lu Jingfei suggested to her. You can consider overlapping with my research direction. I have several sets of data on hand. You can use them? Huo Nianian looked at him with sparkling eyes. Really? Lu Jingfei nodded. Of course, I'll send you the materials next time. I breathed a sigh of relief internally. When we returned to the manor, Huo Xiaoxiao said to me as we passed each other, Nianian has been really happy lately. That's all your credit. No, it's not. She's the one who's been working hard. I just helped her find the right direction. You helped her find the right direction. What about me? What did you help me find the right direction for? I froze for a second. You don't need me to help you with that. You already know exactly what path you're taking. At the dinner table that night, Nianian suddenly looked up. Second sister, you've been much nicer to A. Chen lately. Did you finally approve of him? Huo Xiaoxiao glanced at me. I wouldn't say I approve of him. I just don't hate him anymore. Huo Nianian asked in confusion, pressing for an answer. Why? Because he cares about you a lot. A person who cares that much about you? I have no reason to keep hating him. This answer was very appropriate. She attributed the reason entirely to Huo Nianian. But second sister, you said all men are trouble. Why is A. Chen the only exception? The living room went silent for a second. Oh! I immediately changed the subject. Huo Nianian, how far have you gotten on your expanded ideas? You have to discuss them with Lu Jingfei tomorrow. You need to finish writing it tonight. His attention got drawn away. Oh yeah, exactly. I just have the last part left to finish. I've got a business deal to discuss tomorrow. I'm gonna head to bed first. Huo Nianian mumbled casually. It's just a project collaboration, nothing big. Does my second elder sister even need to handle it herself? I asked around discreetly. What project? I think it's that one south of the city, you know. The project from Beijing Group, I guess. Can't remember clearly. Second sister's been busy with this lately. I nodded and didn't ask more questions, but I felt oddly uneasy for no reason. The commercial area south of the city is full of all kinds of people. Though Huo Xiaoxiao is tough, but for some social situations, a strong aura alone isn't enough to fix things. I picked up my phone to look up Beijing Group. All the posts are warning people to stay away. The boss of Beijing Group is surnamed Zhao. He's famously difficult to deal with in the industry. He doesn't play by the rules. He loves forcing people to do what he wants. Early the next morning, I grabbed my car keys and headed out. When I got to the parking lot, I sensed something was wrong right away. Huo Xiaoxiao's car looked like it was blocked temporarily. Office building lobby. Huo Xiaoxiao was standing at the end of the hallway. 5 men were standing in front of her.
Second Miss Huo.
I, Zhao, have invested 3 years into this project. Your Huo family suddenly cut in out of nowhere. That's not very respectful of the rules, is it? The business world runs on strength. It's not whoever comes first wins. Beijing hasn't made any progress on this in 3 years. The Huo family stepping in is normal competition. Boss Zhao cornering me like this to talk business. Isn't very proper, is it? Ha, second Miss Huo. Why don't you just hand over this project? We can give you other forms of compensation. We can all make money peacefully, right? Huo Xiaoxiao's gaze was sharp. I only do things by the book. Rules? This is my turf. I make the rules here. He took a step forward after saying that, forcing Huo Xiaoxiao to press her back against the wall.
Second Miss Huo.
You came to my turf alone to talk business. Aren't you a little too overconfident? Or is it that you don't even take me, Zhao, seriously at all? A flash of panic crossed Huo Xiaoxiao's mind. Just then I walked into the lobby. Boss Zhao, let's talk business properly, yeah? What's with all this? Boss Zhao squinted at me. Who are you? I walked over to Huo Xiaoxiao's side, turned sideways to stand between her and Boss Zhao. I'm her partner. Boss Zhao looked me up and down. Kid, you don't look like you're here for business. I smiled a little. Then let's not talk about business. Boss Zhao, cornering a woman like this. Are you breaking the law right now? Boss Zhao's face changed. Kid, watch your mouth. I'm just discussing business with President Huo. I leaned closer to him. President Zhao, hey! You're restricting someone's personal freedom right now. I checked already. There are 4 security cameras around here that can film us. What do you think will happen if I call the cops right now? You think I, Zhao, was born yesterday? Boss Zhao, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just warning you. Do you know why your project hasn't made any progress in 3 years? It's because of the way you do things. No one wants to work with you. If you actually want to make money, why don't we sit down and talk it over, huh? Ha, fine. You've got guts, kid.
Second Miss Huo.
Let's call what happened today a misunderstanding. We'll talk again next time. He took a step back. He turned around and left with his men. I just breathed a sigh of relief. Huo Xiaoxiao behind me grabbed my arm. Li Chen! Thank you. I turned around to look at her. No need to thank me, I was just passing by. Huo Xiaoxiao's lips trembled a little. She wanted to say something, but she spotted a red scratch on my arm. You're hurt. I glanced at the wound. Probably when Boss Zhao pushed past just now, one of the guys behind him gave me a shove too. I scraped it on the metal trim along the hallway. It's nothing, just a scratch. Huo Xiaoxiao pulled out a handkerchief. She carefully pressed it against my wound. My throat's a bit dry. I'm really fine. She looked up at me. Li Chen, why are you always like this? You're the one who got hurt. But you keep saying you're fine. You came to see me on purpose. But you said you were just passing by. Can you just tell me the truth for once? I stayed silent for a long time. Then I told the truth. Huo Xiaoxiao, you shouldn't handle this kind of thing alone. It's wrong to come for business talks with no one with you. So you came all the way here to protect me. Yes, I paused for a moment. Because I can't do that. I know you're in a place like this, but leave you to deal with everything alone. I just can't do that. Tears rolled down Huo Xiaoxiao's cheeks. Li Chen, you're the only one in my heart. Only you, from the very start. Huo Xiaoxiao, I thought I hated you. I thought I'd never look back. I thought I could start over. But I never got over you, I just refused to admit it. She smiled and I reached to wipe the tears off her face. Don't ever come to places like this for business alone again, she answered in a low voice. Okay, let's go. Let's head back and tend to your wound first. Huo saw us coming back together. She glanced back and forth between Huo Xiaoxiao and me. Yikes! How did you get hurt? I coughed lightly. Just scraped myself by accident. That wound doesn't look like a scrape at all. I changed the subject. Did you finish analyzing Lu Jingfei's materials? Her attention was immediately diverted. Yep, he even praised my analysis logic. Nice, keep it up. She nodded and left. That night, I was lying in bed when my phone rang. It was a message from Huo Xiaoxiao. Does your wound still hurt? He then waited for you to look at me properly. Lu Jingfei was silent for a few seconds. Then he said something that made Huo Nianian's heart skip a beat. No need to confess for the 100th time. Because I say yes. Huo Nianian's eyes widened in shock. What? Lu Jingfei looked at her seriously. Huo Nianian, I used to think we weren't the same kind of people. You're too passionate. I'm too calm. I was scared I'd be overwhelmed by your enthusiasm. But after hanging out these few times, I realized you're really someone worth getting close to. So, Huo Nianian, I want to be with you. Huo Nianian's eyes lit up. Thank you. You finally noticed me, huh? Lu Jingfei held out his hand. Huo Nianian put her hand in his. That night, Huo Nianian sent me a message. Lu Jingfei and I are together. He made the first move. It wasn't me confessing, he said it first. He said for the 99 confessions. He'd say yes on the 100th time. Congratulations, Nianian. You did it! Li Chen, thanks for helping me. I replied, no need to thank me. I mean it. You're shining bright all on your own. I'll keep working hard. I finally breathed a huge sigh of relief. Now that Huo Nianian and Lu Jingfei are together, she'll focus all her attention on him. and won't have time to wonder about my relationship with Huo Xiao anymore. But the fake dating contract between Huo Nianian and I should come to an end now, right? Liar. It hurts a little. I'll change your dressing tomorrow. You know how to change dressings. For you, I can learn anything. My heart skipped a beat. The next morning, there was another thermos on the dining table. The words on the sticky note said, "Wait for me to change your dressing, be good." I finished my kanji, folded the note, and put it in my pocket. I found a guest room with no security cameras and sent her a message. 306 east side of the 3rd floor. She replied, 5 minutes later, Huo Xiao walked in, carrying a medical bag in her hand. I watched her clumsy movements. My heart completely melted. After she finished wrapping the wound, she looked up at me. All done. Thanks, I said in a low voice. She shook her head gently. No need to thank me, I wanted to do this. I chuckled softly. Is this a date? Saturday afternoon. Huo Nianian was waiting at the library when Lu Jingfei arrived. The two sat in the corner quietly discussing academic topics. After reading through the materials, Lu Jingfei said, "Your thought process is really clear. I can tell you've put in a lot of work." Huo Nianian's heart started racing. Thank you. Do you think this direction is workable? Lu Jingfei looked at Huo Nianian admiringly. It's totally workable. Besides, the algorithm framework you came up with. I never thought of that before. I thought you were just the typical fangirl who chases people around. I didn't expect you to actually be this thoughtful and dedicated. Huo Nianian smiled. I do think things through before chasing someone, you know. It's just that my old way of pursuing people wasn't very smart. The corner of Lu Jingfei's mouth twitched a little. 99 confessions are indeed not very smart. Huo Nianian was stunned for a second. Then she laughed. Yeah, those 99 confessions were pretty dumb. But for the 100th time, I changed my approach and decided to just be myself. Early the next morning, Huo Nianian came to find me. Li Chen, starting right now. Our contract is over.
There's something I have to do.
I frowned. What is it? I'm gonna confess to second sister. She said this seriously, so I asked,
Have you thought this through?
She nodded. Yeah, I have. I'm dating Lu Jingfei now. I don't need a fake boyfriend anymore. Second sister has been feeling guilty ever since that last incident. She deserves to know the truth. And you two should have a talk too, I said with a smile. What do we have to talk about? Huo Nianian looked at me. Li Chen, do you and second sister think I'm an idiot? Second sister's ex-boyfriend is named Li Chen. Your name is Li Chen too. The night he reversed his car into a street lamp was the exact same night you showed up at the manor. She broke into your bathroom. She even cooks kanji for you herself. I'm not blind, okay? You are my second sister's ex-boyfriend. The guy she's never gotten over. I was silent for a moment. I didn't mean to hide this from you. Don't be mad, okay? My mind's totally occupied with Lu Jingfei right now. I don't have time for your messy love drama. But second sister has been moping for half a year because of you. She's basically been a walking dead this whole time. Now that you're back, don't leave again, okay? I'll go find her, wait here. Huo Nianian knocked on Huo Xiaoxiao's bedroom door and got straight to the point. Second sister, Li Chen is the fake boyfriend I hired. Huo Xiaoxiao froze with her cup midair. What? Huo Nianian walked over to her side. I paid Li Chen 10 million yuan. He acted the part, I paid the money. The whole thing was fake from start to finish. There's nothing going on between us. Just a few minutes ago. Our contract ended. You don't have to feel guilty towards me anymore, second sister. You can have a proper talk with Li Chen now. Huo Xiaoxiao put down her cup and was silent for 3 seconds. Xiaoxi, did you know about this all along? Huo Nianian shook her head. I wasn't sure at first, but later you two didn't even bother hiding it in front of others. Second sister, can you two get back together? Huo Xiaoxiao's eyes were bright with hope. We will. He still has feelings for me, and I have feelings for him too. We will definitely get back together. I really had no idea Li Chen was your boyfriend. I was just so sick of being pushed to get married back then, and brother Jingfei didn't want to be with me, so I just hired someone to pretend to be my boyfriend. Second sister, don't blame him, okay? And don't blame me either. He's always loved money. I know that. How could I ever blame him? As for you, I should be thanking you. Thank you for bringing him back to me. Heh. Second sister, I really wish you and Li Chen all the happiness. Huo Xiaoxiao reached out and hugged her. Thank you, Xiaosi. Hunyanian patted her on the back. You're my older sister. I'm happy when you're happy. Oh, right, second sister. There's one more thing. You should tell the rest of the family about your past with Li Chen. Li Chen should be able to appear at our house openly and properly. Hiding it will only make the elders doubt him more. It's better to lay everything out in the open, so they can know the full truth. Huo Xiaoxiao thought for a moment. Okay, I'll invite the elders over to talk tomorrow. The next day, Huo Xiaoxiao stood in the middle of the living room. Uncles. Today I'm officially announcing two things. First, Li Chen and Nianian were fake dating the entire time. Nianian hired him to play that role. Their contract has already ended. Second, Li Chen is the ex I've been searching for 193 days. I hid my identity when I approached him back then. He left after he found out the truth. The misunderstanding has been cleared up now. We're getting back together. Third, Uncle Huo. Xiao, he first pretended to be Nianian's boyfriend, and now he wants to be with you. Are you sure this guy isn't scamming both of you? Huo Xiaoxiao shook her head. He didn't scam Nianian at all. Nianian took the initiative to hire him. He didn't approach me on purpose either. I'm the one who's been looking for him all this time. He had no idea about this the whole time. First, Uncle Huo. This guy's background is totally unknown, and he has no stable income. That's no good. Huo Xiaoxiao stood her ground and argued back. When he was dating me before, he had no idea I'm the second miss of the Huo family. He thought I was a poor girl deep in debt. He supported me with his own salary. He cooked for me and took good care of me. I was the one who lied to him back then. I hid my real identity. I used him as a bet and hurt him badly. He didn't leave because he didn't love me. He left because his pride couldn't take it. A bunch of people judged him and said he wasn't good enough for me. He thought he didn't deserve me, so he ran away. Now he's back. It's not for money. It's not for the Huo family. It's only for me. Hunyanian stood up. Uncles. Li Chen kept really proper boundaries during the contract. He helped me win over Lu Jingfei. He never crossed any lines at all. He's also genuinely serious about Xiaoxiao. You all saw how miserable Xiaoxiao was these past months. You've all seen it with your own eyes. Now she's finally smiling and happy again. Do you really want to split them up over their different backgrounds? Just then I walked into the main hall. All the elders' eyes landed on me. Third Uncle Huo spoke up and asked, Li Chen, I have one question for you. What's your plan for the future? After I left here, I opened an online studio. I have a very stable income now. I won't rely on the Huo family for anything. I won't use the Huo family's influence to get ahead. I'll use my own abilities to get to a position where I can stand beside you as an equal. She won't need to lower her living standards at all. First Uncle Huo sighed. Fine, but we have one condition. Li Chen, you must make Xiaoxiao happy. I nodded seriously. I promise. We walked out of the main hall. The sun was shining perfectly outside. Xiaoxiao stopped and looked at me. Welcome back, boyfriend. You're mine again now. I smiled. Yeah, we went round and round with so much resentment between us, and we ended up right back where we started. She tilted her head and looked at me. Li Chen, how did you spend these past 6 months? I checked your WeChat moments and all your social media accounts. I couldn't find anything at all. I sighed, because I deleted all my accounts. After I arrived in Beijing, I rented a small apartment all by myself. I didn't do anything for the first 2 months. I just laid around all day. I didn't feel like doing anything at all. My mind was completely blank. I felt totally empty inside. Then my childhood best friend couldn't stand seeing me like that. He dragged me out for drinks. We drank till midnight, and he asked me, what do you actually want to do with your life? I had no idea. Then stop overthinking it. Just do something first and figure it out later. So I started learning programming. I taught myself, wrote code during the day, and took on outsourcing projects at night. I started with small projects that only paid a few $100. Later, I built up a solid client base, and my reputation got better and better. I registered my online studio 3 months ago. Now we have a team of 5 people. We mainly build official websites and mini programs for small and medium enterprises. Our monthly revenue is around 300 to 400,000 RMB. Not a lot, but it's enough to live on in Beijing. I don't need to rely on anyone. I don't need to rely on the Huo family. I can be with you fair and square. Did you ever think about me during those 3 months? Every single day, I thought about you every day. I was just too proud to admit it. What about now? You're willing to admit it now. Xiao, the half year after I left, wasn't a carefree fun time for me at all. It was half a year of feeling completely empty. You were all I could think about the whole time. I kept saying I hated you. The first thing I do when I wake up every day is wonder where you are. The last thing I do before bed every night is wonder if you're eating properly. Now everything should get back on track. I finally know how you spent the past 6 months. She looked at me quietly. You had a really rough time. So did I. We're two idiots. Took us 193 days to admit it. So stupid. Like unbelievably stupid. But we're not stupid anymore. We're officially together now. No more empty days ahead. No more hiding either. We won't do that again. I held out my hand. She placed hers in mine. Our fingers laced together. Ho Xiao pulled me along to go out on a date. We ran right into Huo Nianian linking arms with Lu Jingfei, both holding freshly printed thesis materials. Second sister, brother Li Chen. Jingfei and I have finalized our graduation thesis topic. Thanks for helping me sort out my ideas earlier. Lu Jingfei nodded at me with a gentle smile. Thanks for the advice you gave me back then. Nianian is really dedicated to her studies now. We've agreed to go to grad school together after graduation. Ho Xiao ruffled her little sister's hair. Finally don't have to wait for your 100th reckless confession. Now you two have a steady mutual relationship. If I hadn't paid brother Li Chen to pretend to be my boyfriend back then, I never would have focused on being myself, and I never would have gotten you two together. That 10 million is my investment in second sister's happiness. Totally worth it. I thought of Boss Zhao from Chengnan, who made things hard for Huo Xiao. What happened to Boss Zhao from Chengnan later? Beijing group used dirty tricks, maliciously blocked local merchants, developed projects illegally. I collected all evidence and submitted it to the regulators. All his projects were suspended for investigation. His company went bankrupt with heavy debts. He paid the price for his arrogance. That's exactly what bad people deserve. Oh right, those girls who bet on our relationship before. They're from average families but competed with each other all day. They had a bad falling out really early. Haven't contacted each other ever since. I felt totally at ease after hearing that. All the knots hidden in my heart, all disappeared completely. All the past messes are finally settled. Good people get their happy endings. Bad people reap what they sow. After dinner, only the two of us were left in the manor. The evening breeze brushed the swing in the courtyard. Huo Xiao leaned on my shoulder and spoke softly. Earlier, my eldest and third uncles worried you had no family savings. They were afraid I'd suffer if I stayed with you. Now they've seen your studio's revenue flow and seen with their own eyes that I can't live without you. They don't have a single objection anymore. I wrapped my arm around her waist. I felt extremely peaceful inside. My studio's running steadily now. I don't need to rely on the Huo family at all. You don't have to hide your identity on purpose anymore. We don't have to sneak around anymore. If we want to go shopping, watch movies, take short trips, we can go out together openly. Tomorrow I'll take you to visit my studio. My team is super curious about what the person I've missed for half a year looks like. That ring, can I put it on you now? Ho Xiao looked up at me. Her eyes were shining full of starlight. I took another women's ring out of my pocket. I got down on one knee gently and held her left hand. No fancy grand setup, just the soft moonlight in the courtyard. The confession I missed back then, the honesty that came late. I'm making up for all of it today. I was stubborn and sensitive before. I ignored your true feelings. For the rest of our lives. 3 meals a day, 4 seasons a year. I'll shield you from all the storms. I'll never let you be sad alone again, or face danger alone, Huo Xiao. Will you spend the rest of your life with me? I do. I have been ever since the day I met you. The ring slid perfectly onto her finger. I stood up and pulled her into my arms. Soft footsteps sounded behind us. We turned around and saw Huo Nianian and Lu Jingfei standing quietly under the porch, smiling and making a heart gesture at us. Huo Xiao buried her face in my chest and mumbled softly, Look, Nianian and Lu Jingfei have a mutual loving relationship. We got past all our misunderstandings and got back together. All the regrets are made up now. On the weekend, the table in the restaurant private room was full of home-cooked food. I sat next to Huo Xiao. My fingertips rested lightly on the back of her hand the whole time. Huo Nianian sat next to Lu Jingfei across the table. We're going to an academic seminar together next week. Lu Jingfei patiently picked the chili peppers out of her food. Huo Xiaoxiao smiles and scoops me a bowl of stomach-warming millet porridge. Remember you used to be so busy you always forgot to eat. Thanks, Xiaoxiao. Lu Jingfei raises his glass first to toast me. Thanks so much for helping Nianian figure things out back then. Hunyanian chimes in to tease. Sis, you and A Chen should set your wedding date soon, yeah? The tips of Huo Xiaoxiao's ears flush slightly as she leans against me. The night outside the window is soft and warm. Laughter and chatter fill the table nonstop. The two couples each have their own peaceful, happy lives. All past misunderstandings and messy back and forth are totally gone now. All that's left now is this perfect, warm, happy moment.